Today on the CTV News at 5, how almost 24 high school students ended up pepper sprayed after two people got into a fight. Plus, 3 Quebec people face charges after allegedly trying to use identity theft to steal from a city bank. And LCI students strut their stuff in a Halloween tradition.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Happy Halloween. Thank you for joining us today. A young man is in police custody this afternoon after a group of people were pepper sprayed outside Chinook High School in Lethbridge. EMS treated as many as 20 students for sore eyes, coughing, and other symptoms. Police say the man will likely face charges of assault with a weapon. He was not a student at the school. Terry Vogt reports.
Police arrived in force to a call for assistance outside the Crossings Branch Library in West Lethbridge. They say the incident began when a young man who didn't attend either Chinook High or the Catholic Central West campus came to confront another young man.
They have a pre-existing problem with each other, and out of that problem they decided to fight over this problem. And one of the subjects during the fight pulled out what we believe to be something similar to pepper spray.
Police say he sprayed the person he was fighting with, as well as up to 20 people who were standing nearby watching the altercation.
They went and showered in the library showers and stuff, and their faces are all red, and they got it out of their eyes, though. They're all okay. I got a bit in my eyes and my throat, but I was a bit away from over there.
The after effects of common pepper spray, very red, very sore eyes, coughing, a lot of mucus flowing. We had ambulance and paramedics attend. They were all treated with first aid.
Those that were most significantly impacted were attended to by the emergency services, and to my understanding there's not been any need for any further attention other than just sort of the immediate response.
School officials say while the incident didn't occur on their property, it did attract a lot of attention, both from students and the administration, who were involved with breaking up the altercation. Police have arrested a young man in connection with this case and continue to search for what they believe to be was a canister of something like pepper spray. They expect to lay charges of assault with a weapon. Terry Vogt, CTV News, Lethbridge.
Now the school district says it will be sending home letters tonight to the parents to explain what happened. Police say their investigation is ongoing. And Lethbridge City Police have charged 3 people from Quebec in a province-wide fraud and identity theft operation. Officers say the trio used stolen identities to raid the bank accounts of their victims. They would go to a bank and claim to have lost their bank card, then return later to withdraw a large amount of cash. That's what a 19-year-old Quebec woman said to a staff member at a Lethbridge bank last week. But bank staff became suspicious. They called police. Outside the bank, officers arrested the woman and 2 men. Police say over the last month, it's believed that the group stole almost $90,000 from banks in Lethbridge, Medicine Hat, Calgary, Cochrane, Olds, Didsbury, and Airdrie.
We can't say it's directly related to organized crime, but I can say it is an organized group. They do have fraudulent IDs that are, already made for them in several different identities. They're flown to a certain city and they disperse in groups, and they do this in a calculated manner.
Police arrested the alleged fraudsters. They had stolen identities on them and information believed to be from computer hacking. The 19-year-old woman, 22-year-old man, and 27-year-old man, all from Quebec, face dozens of charges. They remain in police custody. And a Lethbridge man charged in connection with a series of sexually motivated attacks now faces another charge. The initial charge stemmed from incidents on October the 10th and the 11th in Lethbridge's downtown court. Police say a man attacked 3 separate women that he solicited for sex. Following media coverage, another victim has come forward. 22-year-old woman says on October 7th, she was walking along 8th Street South when a man tried to talk to her. When she ignored him and continued walking, he followed and grabbed at her. The victim was able to escape. 32-year-old Nadir Louis Kumbako faces several charges, including assault, sexual assault, and unlawful confinement. He is in police custody and scheduled to appear in court November the 5th. A sentencing hearing is underway for a Medicine Hat day home operator after she pled guilty to charges related to the death of a 19-month-old girl in her care. Aaron Jackman was charged in 2010 when 19-month-old Mercedes Pepper died from head injuries while in her care. 26-year-old Jackman pleaded guilty last month in the death of Pepper. Mercedes Pepper suffered fatal head injuries at Jackman's home. She died in hospital in Calgary 2 days later. Jackman's version of events will be revealed at her sentencing hearing today. Well, we've got someone filling in for the lovely and talented Dory Rossiter. You look great.
Thank you, darling.
Oh yeah, we have some weather too. Some of that
Yeah, we do. We have
sunshine's
some
on
of
the
that
way.
stuff. Yeah, we do. Yeah, a little chilly for the trick-or-treaters tonight. A little slick out there as well. Be careful on the roads. We have that freezing rain that still can be in effect during the evening and overnight hours. By tomorrow afternoon, though, things should be looking pretty good here in Lethbridge with the sun and cloud mix. And I'll have more fabulous details coming up in a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Dory. Well, as Dory was saying, it is slick out there. Southern Albertans awoke to find streets and sidewalks covered in ice this morning. Freezing rain coated car windshields and made both driving and walking hazardous. It began with a light snowfall at 5 a.m. and then turned to a light freezing drizzle about an hour later. With the temperature hovering at -3 or 4 degrees, Environment Canada issued a freezing rain warning for the Lethbridge, Taber and Milk River areas. Officials say the conditions were caused by a warm front moving from southern British Columbia combined with a cold Arctic air over southern Alberta. The warning is now over. Patchy freezy rain is also reported in and around the Medicine Hat area. Well, for the second time this week, icy rain has caused flight delays at the County of Lethbridge Airport. An airport spokesman says crews were sweeping the ice off the runways throughout the morning, but the conditions did result in the postponement of some flights. One plane did not arrive on schedule this morning. 2 of the early morning flights were delayed for several hours. Protesters are taking the province to court over logging in the Castle area. 5 of the people involved in last winter's Castle logging protest are behind the lawsuit. They argue the logging license for the area southwest of Pincher Creek is invalid. At issue is what the protesters call a lack of effective consultation and the fact that the area is considered core grizzly bear habitat. The case will be heard at Court of Queen's Bench in Calgary tomorrow.
The judicial review will look into the logging licenses themselves, and we believe that they never should have been issued and there should never be logging in the Castle.
The Castle Crown Wilderness Coalition is urging people who are opposed to logging to show up at court or write Premier Redford or even provide a donation to help cover their legal expenses. After 2.5 years, the province is pulling the plug on temporary housing available to urban flood victims. Today is moving day for the Chatfields, who were forced out of their home in June of 2010 because of flooding. Chat TV's Yvonne Raymond has their story.
Jamie Chatfield would prefer spending her wedding anniversary another way. Instead, she is packing while her husband works up north trying to earn enough money to rebuild their flood-ravaged home. They've been living in temporary housing and recently learned their time is up.
2 options, option A or option B, that we could either leave before October 31st and they would give us a little bit of money, or we had until October 31st, but that we needed to vacate.
Following the 2010 flood in Irvine, the government provided provincially funded housing units. The homes were a temporary solution until those affected by the flood got back on their feet. And after 2 years, officials are saying enough is enough.
We have had it in place for applicants for the last 2.5 years, and we also have had a number of recent extensions to this temporary housing. And at this time, we need to wind it up and use that housing for other purposes.
The Chatfields are rebuilding their home themselves. They claim the funding they're receiving isn't enough to cover the actual cost of the repairs.
The government told us that they would give us X amount of dollars to do the basement. When we got quotes from different places, it was not even near enough, and we couldn't pay for it.
Doing the work on their own, combined with construction setbacks, means the rebuild is taking longer than expected.
You tear down a wall, you find more mold.
The Chatfields are still eligible for other forms of assistance, but in the meantime, the family of 6 is moving into a camper.
Last night, we went in there and had supper for the first time, and it was, don't touch me, there's not enough room to move.
And while they're frustrated by this latest setback, they're focusing on packing up and trying to get their home done in time for Christmas. Yvonne Raymond, Chat News.
Lethbridge Collegiate Institute students were thrilled to continue a Halloween tradition this morning. Students packed the LCI gym to get into the Halloween spirit by performing the dance from Michael Jackson's immortal hit Thriller. Although it's traditionally a zombie-only dance, the students showed off all kinds of costumes. It's the 4th year the school performed the dance, and staff and students hope to continue next year.
This year we started having some teachers show up for it. The student teachers were participating in it, so that was kind of fun. And I'm in charge of the grade 9s this year, so we really wanted to focus on the 9s. So the 9s all learned the dance, and so as the years come up, the 9s and 10s will all know what as they hit grade 12.
My favorite part is when he to kick. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I practice really hard, like 3 hours. Yeah.
LCI offers dance lessons for students in grades 9 to 12. It's the only school south of Calgary with this type of a program. Well, in every town, there's bound to be a house that gives kids in the neighborhood the creeps. Well, there lies such a home in Sterling, 20 minutes south of Lethbridge. On a quiet evening around Halloween, the faint sound of screams can be heard from within. Daryl Rummold reports.
Welcome to the Haunted Mansion. Nothing is as it seems in the Sterling Haunted Mansion.
As soon as you come in the door, you know the house is not normal. It's haunted. It's a truly unique experience.
Around every corner, there is something or someone waiting for you.
It just keeps getting better every year. We add a few more things, a few more animals, a few more spooks.
This is the home of Richard and Glory Reimer. Over the past dozen years, they've grown their home-based haunted house into one of the most popular Halloween tourist attractions in the province. Room by room, guests are invited to look around.
Dinner is served.
To enjoy a good book. At their own risk, of course. Roughly 1,200 people pass through the halls of the Haunted Mansion each and every year, but there's one guest the family says never leaves. This house is actually on village record as being haunted, and the family says there's plenty of reason to believe that it is. At times, the Reimers say the power will go out unexpectedly. Locked doors will swing open, then shut. And there's times when they feel they just shouldn't go into a particular room. As for their business, their biggest challenge continues to be coming up with new ways to frighten guests.
Thank you for joining us this evening.
Daryl Rummold, CTV News, Sterling.
A longtime radio personality is signing off the air today. Daryl Ferguson is retiring after 45 years in broadcasting, the last 40 of them in the Crow's Nest Pass. Ferguson started at CJOC in Lethbridge back in 1967 while still attending high school. In August of 1972, he moved to the Crow's Nest Pass, where he supervised the opening of a new AM radio station, CJPR. Ferguson has been in the Pass ever since, managing the station, doing the morning show, and volunteering with numerous community organizations. He was named Citizen of the Year in 1991.
The funny thing is, we came up here for 1 year. Like that, was kind of the deal, 1 year to 2 years. And if we wanted to come back, we could go back to CJOC in Lethbridge, which we end up staying 40 years. And it's been a great ride. We've done a lot up in the Crow's Nest Pass. Been involved with a lot of clubs and organizations over the years, and it's been fun.
Ferguson says he'll miss getting out of bed early every morning, but won't miss getting out of bed when it's 30 below. Here's a look at how the markets wrapped up the month.